Hello, everybody. Today I want to do one that I accidentally deleted a little while back. So I want to redo it. I kind of wanted to redo it anyway. And this one seemed to ruffle quite a bit of feathers out there in the proverbial Christian hen house. But it's very important, and it's the truth. And today, truth seems to be the new hate speech. So, unfortunately. Anyway, this is called When Eve Wears the Pants. Women are, by God's beautiful design, certainly more emotional creatures than a man, which is absolutely vital for the natural affection, as Scripture talks about, natural affection needed for women to be proper, nurturing, good mothers. Satan, however, saw this as a vulnerability and chose to get to Adam through the weaker vessel, which is Eve, by appealing to her senses, desires, and emotions, which is also by the first thing God rebuked Adam for, which was not partaking of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but rather, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. In other words, Adam had allowed Eve to take the spiritual lead, whose senses, desires, and emotions led her to fall for Satan's seductions. Therefore, I suppose we could say that Satan was the first feminist. And this is precisely why we see a sudden rise in female pastors or online female teaching ministries, which use modern platforms like YouTube, for example, as a loophole for rebellion, not to teach men and attempt to get around the scriptural command that women are only to teach children and other women, which many professing Christians increasingly vehemently defend, even saying such women are simply, quote, preaching the gospel, unquote. This is also why I believe the LGBT movement, the same-sex, sodomite, transgender, cross-dressing, feminist, and pro-choice communities, as well as the New Age goddess, Gaian, Mother Earth movements, we see a rise in. And why we see women portrayed as God in Christian films, supposed Christian films, such as The Shack, which is absolutely leavened with New Age teaching. And all these things are exponentially pushing Satan's agenda to emasculate and dethrone God the Father and enthrone Goddess, Gaia, Mother Earth, the divine feminine, Jezebel, to set the global stage for the man of sin, the man of lawlessness, the Antichrist. Any attempt to usurp God's ordinances of Christ, man, woman, child, is rebellion against God. And God says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. You see, God has established gender ordinances for his church for a good reason. Because even though emotions serve a purpose, a good purpose, emotions do not make a good guardian and gatekeeper for God's church. which is why God forbids female headship of any church assembly. YouTube or not, where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am in their midst also. In other words, the heart does not make a good head. One Timothy 2, verses 12 to 13. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to remain in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. What is Paul saying here? He is saying that Adam was first formed, then Eve, and then he goes on to say that the woman, being in the transgression, was deceived. In other words, again, Satan went through the woman, the weaker vessel, using her desires and emotions as bait to take down the man, who God had placed in charge as the shepherd and gatekeeper, the tender for the garden, and Adam failed at his job because, as God said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Emotions deceive. Emotions are good, but emotions are vulnerable to deception. This is why Eve was deceived, and this is why Paul is clear that the man is the head. And as we read in 1 Corinthians 11:3, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and that the head of every woman is the man. And the head of Christ is God. All right, that's all, folks. We will talk to you again soon. Everyone have a blessed day. All right, take care, folks.